Okay, let's just jump right into this. I'm going to make a pretty bold statement. Everything you think you know about time, that feeling you have in your gut of it flowing, of 1 second ticking after another, it's completely wrong. Seriously, it's not a river. It's not some cosmic clock. The reality is much, much stranger than that. And this quote from Einstein really hits the nail on the head. This is where the problem starts, right? We trust our common sense, but when we're talking about the fabric of reality, our common sense is a terrible guide. It's designed to help us not get eaten by lions, not to understand space-time. So, for the next few minutes, do me a favor. Put that common sense on a shelf, and let's explore what's really going on. So, let's start with that classic metaphor we all use, the river of time. It sounds nice and poetic, but it completely falls apart with one simple question. Think about it. If time is a river, how fast is it flowing? The only answer you can really give is 1 second per second. And that's totally meaningless, right? It's like saying a foot-long ruler is 1 foot long. It tells you nothing. That metaphor, it's a dead end. Time to toss it out. So if that big common idea is wrong, what about our own internal clock? You know, that feeling of seconds ticking by inside your own head? Well, that's where the illusion gets even deeper. This first part is all about how your brain is actually tricking you. Here's a fascinating little experiment you can try yourself right now. Just try counting to 60 in your head. So how are you doing it? As you can see here, some of us are voice counters. We actually hear the numbers in our head, and that's why if someone makes you talk, you totally lose your place. But other people are visual counters. They imagine a little ticker tape or a clock. They're using a completely different part of the brain. This proves that even this super basic act of keeping time isn't universal. It's deeply personal. And that brings us to a really crucial point. If our internal clocks are all so different, so personal, and so easy to break, they can't possibly be measuring some real objective thing out there. They're just mental constructions. Your brain is essentially guessing. In other words, that feeling of time passing, it's a kind of biological hallucination. Okay, so if we can't trust our own brains, who can we trust? Well, physics. And physics tells us to stop thinking about time as something that flows. Instead, we need to think of it as something completely different. A direction. Yeah, like a dimension. Just like left and right or up and down. And his analogy is the absolute best way to understand how that works. Imagine you're driving a car. If you point it due north and floor it, all of your speed is going in one direction, north. Simple. But now you turn the wheel a bit to go northeast. You're now splitting your speed between two directions, right? A little bit north and a little bit east. And because you've diverted some of that motion to go east, you're not going north as fast as you were before. Now here's the mind-blowing part. Just replace north with time and east with space. And that little swap leads to this staggering conclusion. You are always moving through space-time at a constant speed. The speed of light, actually. If you're sitting perfectly still, all of that motion is through the time dimension. But the second you start moving through space, walking, running, getting in a rocket ship, you have to divert some of that motion. You have to, which means you must move slower through time. And this isn't just a theory. It's a measurable fact we literally have to program into our GPS satellites every single day or they'd stop work. So once you get your head around that, it leads to an even weirder idea. Because if our speed through time is relative to our speed through space, then the whole idea of a universal now just completely shatters. Okay, imagine this. You're standing on the ground, and you see two lampposts, one way over to your left and one way over to your right. And they both flash at the exact same instant. For you, those two events are simultaneous. They happened at the same time. Pretty straightforward, right? But now, let's say your friend flies past in a super fast spaceship right when the lights flash. Because they're moving so fast, their slice of space-time is tilted compared to yours. So when they measure it with their perfect, super accurate instruments, they will find that one light flashed before the other. For them, the events were not simultaneous. So the big question is, who's right, you on the ground or your friend in the spaceship? And the answer, which just completely breaks our brains, is they both are. There is no single universal now. My now and your now are actually different. The now for someone in another galaxy could be what we consider thousands of years ago. Now isn't a fact about the universe. It's just a perspective. Okay, I know what you're thinking. If time is just a static direction and now wasn't real, then why on earth do we all feel it moving in one direction? Why does it feel like there's an arrow, always pointing from yesterday to tomorrow? Well, the answer has nothing to do with time itself, and everything to do with mess.
This really is the core question, isn't it? The basic laws of physics, believe it or not, work just fine forwards and backwards. You can run a video of a planet orbiting a star in reverse, and it looks totally normal. And yet, we can remember what happened yesterday, but we can't remember what's going to happen tomorrow. What's up with that? The reason has this really official-sounding name, entropy, but don't let that intimidate you. All it means really is a measure of disorder or messiness. And there is one law in the universe that seems to be unbreakable. On the whole, messiness always increases. The universe is always, always sliding from order to disorder. And this slide is the perfect analogy. Just think about an egg. There's basically only one way all of its atoms can be arranged to be a perfect whole egg. But think about how many ways there are for an egg to be broken, smashed, scrambled, splattered. There are billions and billions of broken arrangements. It's not a rule of physics that eggs have to break, it's just pure probability. It's way, way easier to be messy than to be neat. And here is the absolute punchline. That feeling you have, that sensation of time flowing forward, that's not time itself you're feeling. That is just your brain, this highly evolved pattern recognition machine, detecting the constant increase of entropy. You know the past from the future because you know the difference between a tidy room and a messy room. You're a disorder detector. So let's put all these pieces together. Time is a static dimension. Now is just your point of view. The flow we feel is just our brain tracking increasing messiness. When you combine all that, it leads physicists to a final, absolutely wild model of what reality is. It's called the block universe. And the theory says that every single moment, the dinosaurs walking the earth, your birth, you listening to this right now, and even the end of your life, it all exists simultaneously. They're all just different places, different coordinates in this giant four-dimensional block of space-time. Nothing is flowing or changing. Everything just is. The absolute best analogy for this is a movie reel. You know the old film strips? If you hold one in your hands, the beginning of the movie, the middle, and the end, they all exist right there at the same time as static frames. The story only seems to happen, to unfold, when you shine a light through it frame by frame. Well, in this analogy, the universe is the entire movie reel, and your consciousness, that's the light from the projector, illuminating one single frame at a time, creating the powerful illusion that time is passing. So, let's just try to reframe our whole understanding. It means we have to throw out those comfortable, intuitive illusions and replace them with this new, strange, and beautiful reality. The old view, the common sense view, says time is a river that's just carrying us along for the ride. But as we've seen, the new view, the view from physics, says time is a map. It's a static geometry. The past isn't gone forever. It's just another place on the map. And the future isn't some unwritten void. It's just a destination we haven't arrived at yet. And so I'll leave you with this one final thought to chew on. The next time you look at a clock, on your wall or on your wrist, just ask yourself what you're really seeing. Are you actually seeing time? Or are you just looking at a clever machine, a piece of engineering that we all agree on, designed to comfort us with the simple illusion of a steady flow? In a universe that is so much more magnificent and strange than that,